Hey, this is Brett the Hitman Hart, and you're listening to the Smacked Raw podcast.
Like, okay, well, has this always been a thing? Where have I been?
Welcome everyone to the Smack Raw Podcast NXT recap episode. I am your host as usual, SCS Vince, joined today by my second half of the two-man power trip of NXT TV, Mr. 8984, aka RN. How's it going, my man?
What's good, bro? How you been?
I've been good, man. I enjoyed tonight's NXT. I've been looking forward for today. We had the whole mystery opponent thing that was supposed to be revealed, so that was the big hype for the show. And always, man, I'm always like hyped to go ahead and hang out with you for about 40 minutes to an hour and talk some wrestling. So that always is a highlight of my evening for sure.
Yeah, especially I missed last week. I was on vacation, so I had to come back hot.
Yeah. So there was a bit of a miscommunication there. Quick shout out to Matt Ritter from the Smacking Raw podcast, No Relation, for coming in and getting the hot tag at the last minute and joining me for the NXT recap episode. I really highly appreciated it. But we want to encourage you guys to go ahead and check out our content right here on youtube.com/SmackRaw podcast. Also, you can find us wherever audio podcasts can be consumed. So go ahead and give us a download over there. Like I said, subscribe on YouTube, give it a thumbs up on this video, comment down below if you have any questions or any comments on the show. We highly appreciate them. Turn on the bell notification so you know when a brand new video drops. And go ahead and check out WrestlingNewsWorld.com for all the latest news, rumors, and results within the pro wrestling world. But with that being said, man, look, man, I can't even like pretend to be like very amped up to start up the show. I'm just gonna go out and say it. I'm pissed off that we didn't get no Jeff Cobb tonight. So if you guys follow me on Twitter, which, you know, quick plug right there, follow my Twitter right there at SCS Vince. I went ahead and commented on the post talking about how I want Jeff Cobb to show up on NXT. He liked my tweet. And one thing led to another, and I assumed he was going to be the mystery third guy, which he wasn't, spoiler alert. But I think that kind of bummed me out for the triple threat match because I'm like, then I saw who it was, and I wasn't as hyped. I'm like, fuck. Even the final ending to NXT, like the final stare down, I was like even a little bit like out of it, man. I was like, I wasn't feeling it as much. Maybe I just hyped myself up too much with Jeff Cobb.
Well, you should be, because that's one step closer to you not having to get that big ass tattoo, bro.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, so we'll talk about that more later on. So let's start off with what we kicked off with the show was Karrion Kross versus Danny Burch. First things first, I did not know it was going to be Danny Burch. I thought it was only Lorcan that was supposed to be facing.
I was thinking that. I was like, I could have swore they said it was only Lorcan. What the like? Maybe I missed something, or maybe that's automatically assumed because they look alike.
Right.
I could have swore they said Oni Lorcan last week.
Yeah, maybe we missed something where like Oni Lorcan in kayfabe wasn't like medically cleared to go ahead and compete in the match, and his tag team partner Danny Burch stepped up. Yo, Burch gave Kross some fight, man. He gave him some go in the match. Like he was taking him down with some submissions, and actually made Kross look like he was in a little bit of trouble in there.
Yeah, that was actually what I put on my notes. He had some offense out the gate. I mean, he pulled a killer cross and fucking hit him with that drop kick as soon as the bell rung, as soon as they got started.
No, for sure. Quick shout out on the chat to D-Rod and Bob. Thank you guys for joining the chat. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and leave them in there. We'll get some before the end of the show. But yeah, quick win here for Kross. It wasn't too long of a match, right? It went under 10 minutes, if that.
Yeah, I mean, well, shit, for Kross, that's a Broadway compared to the matches he has been having.
For sure. And then compared to the match he had with Tommaso Ciampa, Danny Burch got more offense than the Ciampa. What does that say about your former face and NXT champion, man? That shit's kind of funny to me.
Also, too, this was Vic Joseph debut, and I'm like, Phillips isn't. I'm not saying Phillips is ass or anything, but for Vic Joseph just seemed like he had always been a part of the show. Like, yeah, he fit in so much better with Morrow and Beth. Like, I hate to say that, but I mean it was a seamless transition. Didn't even notice that anymore. Vic took over, and it seemed like they gave him a little bit more leeway than what Todd had. Like, they would always just like shoot to Todd and say like Vic was actually like his partner in it, like going back and forth with him and stuff.
Yeah, it felt like the chemistry and commentary fit a little bit more. That's not taking away anything from Tom Phillips, because I think he does a solid job. He's just like, he's basically like Michael Cole light at this point.
That's what I was about to say, like Michael Cole Jr. That's how I look at him. So I've kind of felt like he just didn't fit into NXT, like big fish, small pond kind of thing or whatever.
For sure, definitely, man. So, like I said, pretty easy win for the most part, other than that little like struggle that Cross was in. He picks up the win here against Danny Burch. Almost immediately, Keith Lee comes out to confront him. He has a contract in his hand. He said he begged and pleaded for this match. He signed it. He just needs Cross to sign it now. He passes it over to. Say what?
You left out where he called him a little bitch.
Oh, yeah, he called him a little bitch because it's like, oh, this could have been settled. All you had to do was just get in the ring and face me face to face, but you're a little bitch and didn't do it. And instead,
nose, bro.
Yeah. Yo, I love Keith Lee being at the level he is right now, just being the guy that's like just cussing guys out, you know, like just calling it how it is.
You know what it is? That nigga coming out of the final. That's what it is.
Hey, you know what? It could be that. You know, we all have that side of us. Like, we all had that side. So some people are just very nice, calm, and reserved. You know, God knows I have my moments where I just go ahead and like blow a gasket and just give 0 Fs. So I appreciate this side of Keith Lee. It's a nice change of pace because he's usually the chill, kind of calm, collected guy.
Well, that's what I was saying too. Like I said, I said it, the nigga came out, and that's why, like, for me, that's always been not a pet peeve, but like one of the only knocks I have on Keith Lee is I don't want to say that, like, I don't know, it just sounded like a straight white dude most of the time. And today, not tonight. He was feeling it. He was hot. He was mad niggerish, bro, and I'm here for it.
I'm with it too, man. We need more aggressive Keith Lee just like that. What did you think of like the whole sequence where he hands off the contract to Scarlett and then he gives it across, they sign it, they give it back, and then he opens the folder and gets a fireball shot in his eye? I thought it was cheesy. I didn't like it.
I tweeted it was like some Michael Scott shit when he was a magician, bro, and like pulled the fire out. That's nice. I was like, my daughter was even like, where did that fireball come from?
Right.
I have no idea.
You know what's the first thing I thought about? I don't remember the exact pay-per-view, but it happened at WCW when it was supposed to be Ultimate Warrior versus Hollywood Hogan, and he tried to throw a fireball at Warrior, and it just ended up hitting himself. You know which one I'm talking about? You know the spot I'm talking about? Yeah, that's the first thing that came to mind. I'm like, really? We about to throw in fireballs back into wrestling? That don't work. That shit don't fly. Please don't do that. So Keith Lee had medical attention. They were doing the split screen while Drake Maverick came out. And I said this last week with Matt Ritter, and we were wondering if Drake Mavericks just like got pushed to the side in this Cruiserweight title picture for Swerve. And it looks like that's the case because he literally came in, had a random ass match with Killian Dane, and the match didn't even finish because Undisputed Era came out to send a message to not only the NXT roster but to Pat McAfee. Cole got on the mic, challenged Cole to show. Cole got on the mic to challenge McAfee to show up next week face to face. Said that he's trying to play wrestler. He's like out of his league, and like So what was your whole take on this whole thing? Not only the Drake Maverick stuff, but the Cole promo too.
Well, yeah, the Drake Maverick. So I knew this was a random ass match that they did saying. I knew it was gonna be something screwy. I figured like this might be where maybe Jeff Cobb would debut, where he come in and just dunk both these dudes on their head. And keep it moving, because it was just like these are literally the two randomest opponents that haven't had anything or any type of interaction. Then they're just magically on the second match of the card. So like I knew something was gonna happen. I'm glad it was UA, and it is what it is to me. Like I mean, I'm kind of for like I love Pat McAfee and all that, and you know I love how I feel about Adam Cole. I mean, I'll never stop giving shit about it. But like to me, like I'm lukewarm on this. Like. And he is a heel. I don't know why everybody's acting like he's a face all of a sudden. Like,
no, you know what it is? Is we're so used to like it has to be heel and face, so we can't like just accept the fact that we can have a feud where it's two baby faces or two heels, and this is basically two heels. It just so happens that Adam Cole.
Basically, it is. Pat McAfee is a heel. He's heel commentary whenever he comes on the NXT shows, and UA have been heel for. Fucking what 2 years now? Like there's like everybody needs to relax. There is no babyface shit. UA or heels. This is two heels versus each other. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. It can happen.
And we have a question alluding to that. We'll answer more of that towards the end where we get all the Smacked NXT questions in. But I'm going to go ahead and chime over back into the chat. Bob says there's too much Bruce Banner, not enough Hulk, addressing the whole Keith Lee conversation we just had.
Right.
Matt Ritter joins the chat. So how's it going, Matt? Thank you for joining us. Matt says Hogan sucks at everything. Correct. You're 100% correct. Let's see here. You better say Matt Ritter with your chest, Vince. Jesus. Okay. Okay. Well, geez, Matt. Jeez, man. What are you trying to say here, man? Okay. I need to add more Hulk and less Bruce Banner, I guess is what he's trying to get at, man. But going back to the match itself, are you disappointed or at all surprised that Drake Maverick's just been pushed to the side and was just a throwaway here? Not only him, but Killian Dane as well, just to like send this message for Undisputed Era?
I mean, not really, because there's nothing that you can invest in either one of these guys. Like, they've had their time and their feuds or whatever, but I mean, they're both throwaway guys. Like, I wasn't on the Drake Maverick train like everybody else was. Mm-hmm. Like, it was a dope story, and I always thought it was a work from the beginning. Everyone says I'm crazy for thinking that, but I thought it was all a work. And to me, like, wrestling is not going to be his forte. Like, they had him where he needed to be. Either a GM or a manager who gets dirty and gets in there every time, kind of like how Leo Rush was with Bobby Lashley. Like, to me, like, Drake Maverick's never really done it for me. Like, he's all right, and I think he's dope as hell on the mic, and I think that he can give you emotions with that being a part of that, being on the mic and everything, and the fact that he is a wrestler, so he can get in there and get dirty and get his ass kicked or help another wrestler out, like doing something dirty. But for me, like, him as a wrestler, man,
I think he's solid as a wrestler. It's just more or less like he just got caught fire and they didn't really capitalize on what they had with him. They should have just went straight into the feud with Santos Escobar, but I think they just got cold feet. It's like, people are kind of lukewarm on Maverick now, and let's just pivot over to Swerve or something.
Like, to me, he should have. They had fire, and they always do this. Not just NXT, but WWE as a whole. They had fire, and he had something behind him. They should have given him the damn belt and didn't let Santos take it from him after he became heel. Like, that would have been better. Than that way, he would have still kept his momentum going, and he still would have had something viable going back and forth. But now it's just like, now they're just fodder for fucking Undisputed Era.
Yeah. And just to clear things up, you're for this McAfee versus Cole match, are you? Because we didn't have you on the show. I just kind of like want to concur on that. I'm
on the fence about it. Like, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, okay. I get what they're trying to do. They were on Sports Center and Get Up and all that. I dig it.
They got hyped for the match. They got hyped for the match. They were on Sports Center.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's like, it is what it is.
Yeah. But speaking of Santos Escobar, he had a match against Tyler Breeze, and he was supposed to be accompanied by Legado del Fantasma at ringside, but he sends them to the back, says he doesn't need their help to beat Breeze, which is kind of ironic, really, because he didn't actually get the win until Legado showed up to help Escobar with the win. So it's kind of like contradicting, you know. But I'm all for it. You know, he's a heel. You know, you're supposed to be like sneaky and manipulative with your stuff. Yeah, he was doing heel shit, man. I'm all for it. And obviously this match was set up because of the brutal attack that they had on both Breeze and Fandango last week, and the extensive beatdown on Fandango afterwards in the ring. What you thought of the match?
It was actually, I mean, we've had this conversation before. Like, even though I can't stand Breezango, I think that Tyler Breeze is fucking dope in the ring. Mm-hmm. And I mean, this was a dope match. I mean, it wasn't like 5-star or anything like that, but it was a solid ass match. You got to see what Tyler Breeze can do in the ring, and you got your heel tactics by Santos to get the win. So, like, to me, I thought it was a decent match. It was a mid-card feud match. You know what I'm saying? Keeping the feud going. I'm not mad at it.
Definitely. And this might be a little bit like a hot take here, but I think Santos Escobar is what their main roster was hoping Andrade is going to be. I feel like he's already at a level that Andrade isn't. Like, I feel like if he's on main roster, he'd be thriving more than Andrade.
Bro, this ain't no hot take. I said this months ago when he first got there and took the mask off.
Right.
Ain't no fucking hot take. That's my take. I told y'all. I said, look, he's gonna be the star. He's gonna be the Latin star or Latino star, whatever the hell you want to be, the Spanish-speaking star that they've been dying to replace Rey Mysterio with. It's gonna be him. He's fluent in both languages. He's dope on the. He can do any type of wrestling you need him to do. He can be a high flyer. He can do ground-based stuff. He doesn't need somebody to talk for him. He doesn't have broken English. Like he's gonna be their next big Latin star. Like
for sure, dude. He's gonna be what Del Rio was supposed to be, what Andrade they hope will be. He's gonna be the breakout star because he already has Legado del Fantasma. Imagine if he somehow gets this even like huge following of more like Latinos and luchadors backing him up. He legit has a mafia, because I know you're not the biggest guy on like just 3-person factions. You want to have 4 or 5 people deep, you know. Lucha
House Party.
Yeah, they're not doing much with
start off feuding with him and do whatever you got to do, kidnap him and turn him over like you did Joaquin and them. Like,
I'm with it. I'm all for it.
And he's a good looking guy as well, and he's not as small as you think he is. I mean, because Tyler Breeze is one of the bigger guys there too, believe it or not. Like when he went to the main roster, you can kind of see that. So like to me, like that was a good measuring stick to see that he's pretty much the same size. So he's not going to be super small when he goes to the Giants and shit. When he goes to Raw or wherever he goes, so. I have high hopes for him. I definitely think he's a future world champion, just for the simple fact they brought him in and put the belt on him and took the mask off of him as fast as they could. Triple H knows what he's doing. These things aren't done just for the fuck of him. Like, there's a reason behind bringing somebody in like that and putting a belt on him immediately.
Yeah, for sure. Let's chime back into the chat real quick, see what they're saying. Bob says they're just happy to be there. I think he's referring to Killian Dane and Drake Maverick. I guess that's the point. Bob also says he's a great worker, but he's tiny, referring to Drake Maverick. Should have never pissed himself. I agree, Bob. That was pretty bad. Matt, he says, I got to figure out my settings so it stops censoring piss. Did it yesterday with Bob and the streamer too. So yeah, Matt, get your shit together, Matt. Broadcast is in the chat, says, evening, gentlemen. How's it going, Broadcast? Thank you for joining. Bob again says Breeze can sell like a champ. He was fire in Lucha Underground, meaning Santos Escobar. And he also says Kalisto would be a great add to that faction. Yes, Kalisto hasn't been on TV since the pandemic, right? It's just been Lindsay and Grand Metalik on SmackDown.
I think he may have been gone even before the pandemic, if I remember correctly.
Probably.
He wasn't even at Elimination Chamber versus when they had the New Day and all that. He wasn't there with them.
You're right. I think it was before. Yeah, before even WrestleMania. I think it's been a hot minute since I last saw Kalisto. But going back to the match itself, like we mentioned earlier, Legado came out, got the distraction that helped Santos Escobar pick up the win against Tyler Breeze. They beat him down. Fandango tries to make the save. Nice little touch of him coming out with like the crutch and the bandages and stuff. Again, tries to make the save. Couldn't really do much. Swerve came out and he actually managed to force Legado del Fantasma to actually retreat. So I like how they're making Swerve look like a threat here, like someone that like Legado is at least cautious of, which is good because I love Swerve.
And I like how they play up that he's the only person to beat him. Like, keep using that.
Yes, please keep doing that. Okay. Next up, your favorite wrestler, Mia Yams, takes on Indy Hartwell. The story going into this match before it even started was that Mia was barely able to make it to the match, given to what happened with Keith Lee, because she had left to the hospital and barely made it back in time to change into her gear, make it to the match. Her mindset wasn't fully in the match because she was more concerned about Keith. She came out a little bit more aggressive and actually beat Indy Hartwell with a very unique armbar like submission. What do you think of that submission? Yeah, right?
Oh, that's dope as hell. Like I said, she's legit as hell in the ring. Like, that's not my issue with her. It's now like, what's her gimmick now? She's Keith Lee's girlfriend.
Okay. No, we're not gonna get into the whole like Mia Yim, what's her gimmick stuff, because honestly, to be fair, like we could say that about a lot.
Thread of the storyline on the show, Vince. We have to get into it.
You know what? That's just your gimmick at this point, man. I try to like sidestep it because then we'll sit here. We all stay here for like 20 minutes for like for the most part.
We just said what her gimmick was, bro. She's Keith Lee's girlfriend.
whatever. Anyway, but yeah, Swerve and Santos. I'm still looking forward to that. The chat is still going off about that. They work together in Lucha Underground, so they obviously have the history here. Indy Hartwell and Mia Yim. I think they might have worked together in the Indies as well. But this is a solid match. I love the new finish for Mia Yim. Maybe since, again, this would lean into your theory that her gimmick is now Keith Lee's wife, but maybe have her be Scarlett's debut opponent in the match. Maybe.
Yeah.
It makes sense. However, I don't want them to lean into the whole she's Keith Lee's girlfriend type of situation. Make it like a balance, kind of like they do with Bianca and Street Profits.
Yeah.
Following that, we had the match that was teased last week via parking lot confrontation. Damien Priest versus Bronson Reed. Thick Boy season is in effect, man. How are you feeling about Thick Boy season?
I got no problem with it. I'm just not calling another grown man Thick Boy. It's just not happening.
Yeah. I mean, look, so since we're already on the topic, we might as well address it. Last week on the podcast, since you didn't listen to it, we were talking about how like you want to do like a side bet for predictions, and we said that your punishment should you lose predictions for TakeOver is that you have to call Bronson Reed Thick Boy like going forward and only refer to him as Thick Boy. So that would be your punishment. So if you accept those terms, you're in it? You're for it? Okay, cool. Sounds good. You just gotta...
shit, bro.
Say what?
I ain't scared of this shit. He ain't winning.
No, not about him winning. About you losing predictions as a total, like as a collective whole.
Okay.
To me, so if I get more matches right than you, then you have to go ahead and refer to Bronson Reed as Thick Boy.
I'll still take that. I can't. I called it. All right. So now what we gonna do for yours? We gotta figure out something for you too.
No,
bro.
I mean we came up for it for you. So maybe you and Matt need to like chime into the chat and like talk about something, figure something out. You know.
Too on the fence about everything. I ain't got nothing I can throw in your fucking face.
Oh. Give it time, man. We got time. We got like what, 2 more weeks? We got like 1 more week till like it's what, next weekend takeover?
I think it's next weekend, isn't it? The
yeah, I think so.
Or 20.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's so I think it's gonna be next week. Yeah, it's definitely gonna be next week. So you got about a week. Go ahead and just think something through. But going back to the match, Priest versus Bronson Reed. This is a really good match. NXT's big guys are crazy fucking good, man. They're not one dimensional. That's the one thing that I love about those guys.
Yeah, Bronson, I mean, regardless of his moniker, but like in the ring, like for him to be for as big as he is, like how he always has a motor, like he doesn't ever seem like he's tired. And that's the part that I think I like about him the most. Like as the match goes on, he seems to get stronger. You know what I'm saying? Like he's not like sweating buckets and shit. He's not like, you know what I'm saying, like huffing and puffing. Like he looks the same 10 minutes in as he does the first 5 minutes in. And that move, him catching Damien Priest off the rope and slamming him, like just that right there, I mean, shows his strength and power and shit and his speed and agility. Like, I mean, this match, the two of these dudes together are probably two of the more athletic big men. I mean, if you take Keith Lee out of the equation, these two are right up there with him. I mean, this match is fucking dope.
Look, like it's not even just these guys. Like all their big guys can do all this crazy shit. Like Dijakovic, Keith Lee, even Killian Dane, a guy that we're not really high on, but can do some stuff in the ring. He can really go. That's what I really do appreciate about the big men, and now this new era of like big men, kind of like in the NBA, where a lot of the big men are like taking their game to the outside and are more versatile. They can actually put the ball on the floor, and they're just not post up guys.
No best analogy.
Yeah, so that's the one thing that I do like about like today's big men in wrestling. Like in general, the big guys, they need a little bit more love. I'm not the biggest guy, but I appreciate the love nonetheless.
I didn't like the finish though.
You didn't like the finish? I love the finish. I thought it was good. Tell me what you didn't like about it, man.
I didn't like it because after all the hard-hitting shit they did to each other, he wins the match with a basic-ass roll-up after they both kicked out pretty much of their finishers.
Right.
Or at least their secondary moves and everything. And then he just literally just rolls them up and lays on top of them for the win. Like,
right.
I hate shit like that, especially when it's big man matches like this. Like, I don't know. Like I said, I don't mind him winning. I mean, because clearly they're pushing him, and clearly they see things for him, and I don't mind it at all. Like, I mean, like I say, he's fucking dope in the ring, but of all the shit they did to each other, that's what you finished it with. Like, they should have finished it with that him catching him in the air and slamming him. Like, that would have been a dope ass way to end the match right there. But that roll up, it wasn't even a roll up. Like, I probably would have felt better about it if it was an actual roll up.
Okay,
But he literally
so before you keep going on, like, not that I don't appreciate your take on it, because obviously, like, your opinion is valid. But let me ask you this: what's the point in wrestling? How do you get a win? Either via submission, count out, disqualification, or pinning your opponent's shoulders to the mat. Didn't he not accomplish that?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the thing. The one thing that we need to realize is that you don't need a finisher or a cool move to finish a match. It's okay to win with a roll up or get your opponent, like, pin them, like, or beat them, get them off guard, because, like, that's what
I just said that, bro.
I know.
I would have felt better if it was a roll up. I would have been okay with a roll up.
Right. Look, regardless though, it was still a bridge pin. It was still one of those like pins out of nowhere. Like, he was trying to go for
those transition pins that they literally do chain wrestling out of, that no one ever gets pinned on, bro.
It makes sense because they've been wrestling for a minute. They're more tired now. He doesn't have the energy to kick out. Bronson Reed is a big boy. Maybe what we need to really address here is the fact that Damien Priest is skipping leg day and he didn't have the strength to kick out. Maybe that's the issue here, man. I'm just saying. I'm looking for alternatives. I'm trying to make it make sense. I'm trying to make it make sense.
No, that actually was the first part before you did the leg day shit and ruined it. The part before that actually did make more sense. He is 400 pounds, big ass fucking dude. If you wrestle for 20 minutes, laying on top of you couldn't get up.
Exactly, man.
I'll give you that.
Okay.
I'll give you that.
There you go. Middle ground. But regardless, though, Bronson Reed picked up the win. This is big for Bronson Reed. He's not gonna win the match at that takeover, but they're building him up as another, like, big name in the mid card, which is always good.
Right.
For sure. Before we move on, let's go ahead and, like, pay attention to the chat real quick. Like, Matt Ritter says, no, the post show for Takeover. Oh, yeah. So that he's addressing the bet, saying that you have to go ahead and refer to Bronson Reed for the entirety of the recap as Thick Boy and can't say his actual name. So that's the specifics of the bet.
No, I get that. I'm with that.
Matt also says Vince has to buy Aaliyah merch if he loses and rep it on the podcast. I don't think she has merch, Matt.
I don't think she has a shirt, bro. I'm on there all the time. I don't think I've ever seen it.
Exactly. Bob says Reed wrestles like an old school big guy like Vader. Yes, that's actually a solid comparison for him.
That is actually.
Matt also says, agreed. Priest get caught in that splash was rough, though. He also says Priest needs to use the cross power bomb. Matt is still staying on that fucking hill. He's gonna die on that hill, saying that this man needs to embrace the Priest side of his name and go ahead and use the cross power bomb. I'm not against it, man, but if he couldn't even, like, lift up Bronson Reed from, like, a bridge pin, how is he gonna lift them up for a cross power bomb? Make it make sense, Matt. You know, Matt also says it doesn't bury anyone. They both come out looking strong. Matt says Thick Boy used his weights. Matt also says she does check your phone, Vince. I texted to you. See, I knew giving him my number was not a good idea. Now he's gonna go ahead and make me a liar. Oh, what the fuck? Okay, so she actually does have merch. If you guys aren't watching the YouTube version, you guys are missing out on this fire of merch.
I wouldn't even make you waste your money on that. We'll find something else.
I'll make an Aaliyah shirt and wear it. I'd rather make my own Aaliyah shirt and wear it on the fucking podcast for a whole month.
I never even agreed to that anyway. We gotta find something better than that, bro. Like, fuck Aaliyah. Nobody's even gonna know what that is except for me, you, and Matt.
Right. But speaking of Aaliyah, though, she had a tag match with her fellow Robert Stone brand mates, Mercedes Martinez. She took on Team KC Express. I think that's what they were calling themselves for a hot minute. KC Express, Casey Catanzaro and Kaden Carter.
How were they so offbeat to her own theme music when they were like hitting the thing, like trying to get the beat right, like when they were on the turnbuckle or whatever? Mm-hmm. Like, how do they not know the beat to your own theme, bro? Like, I was laughing at that so hard. They were so like, we're white. Like, I'm like, what is going on, bro?
Yeah. So the start of the match was Casey. Casey's in the ring, and she's being offered a spot in the Robert Stone brand, saying you need to drop the dead weight, referring to Kaden Carter. She declines the offer, slaps in, the match gets started. Take us to this match, man. Like, there wasn't too much to dissect here, but go ahead and take us to the match to the finish.
For the most part, I mean, actually, Casey Canizaro always messed her name up. She actually got some decent offense. Like, she started out with a nice Hurricane Rana to Mercedes Martinez to like start the match off and stuff. I mean, it was a decent match. It wasn't anything crazy. I mean, got some selling off on Mercedes Martinez and shit. But I mean, other than that, it ain't really much to speak on. It was more so after the match.
Okay, for sure. So then take us to the aftermath of the post-match stuff. Where Rhea Ripley came out to like just exact her revenge on Mercedes. Do you think this is going to lead to a match at TakeOver?
I was thinking that, but I was trying to figure out trying to remember what the card was, because you know they only keep it around 4 or 5 matches. I think this will be something maybe to start after TakeOver.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it'll make the show or not, especially since it's not any. It's just kind of out of nowhere, sort of.
Because all we know for sure that's going to be at the card is going to be the women's match, which has already been confirmed, the 5-man ladder match for the North American title, Cole versus McAfee, and the NXT title match between Keith Lee and Cross. So there's room for one more match. So they're either going to do Swerve versus Santos, or they're going to do that Rhea versus Mercedes match.
I don't know. I can't call it.
Okay. Regardless, though, it looks like we might get it. Like, it's either going to happen there, or it's going to happen on like the NXT following TakeOver. That looks like where they're going. Are you feeling this whole Rhea Ripley Mercedes feud? I didn't get a chance to ask you last week.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not mad at it. I just hope that they actually give Mercedes something, some offense, and let her actually show what she can do, and not just be fucking set up to get Rhea Ripley back in. You know what I'm saying? Back in the title hunt and back in the top of the card. Because, I mean, she's not that type of talent. Like, to me, I think she's better than Rhea Ripley, to be honest. But, I mean, she's a new hot thing and she's younger. So, yeah, she needs – I'm not saying that Rhea doesn't need to go over, but I don't want her fucking, like, just plowing through Mercedes Martinez. Cause,
right.
I mean,
also, too, here, one thing I forgot to mention, Shotzi also came out, and it kind of looks like they may not be doing that singles match. They're going to, prolong it a little bit by doing Shotzi and Rhea versus Robert Stonebrand and Mercedes Martinez and Aaliyah.
I kind of like Shotzi and Rhea because they kind of have that same kind of vibe, that, like, punk rock chick kind of vibe. Like, they kind of have that. I'm not mad at that.
Unfortunately, Bob in the chat disagrees with you. He's like, how are they going to drop Mercedes with Chow Tank Girl? Like, way to make her look weak. And then Matt's in the chat saying, yo, Bob, back off my girl Shotzi. She is a star. Shotzi is the shit. Bob says, get rid of the tank and the constant screaming, and I'll think about carrying. And then Matt's like, don't touch the tank, screaming, I will concede. So the screaming, Bob, maybe, yes. The tank, keep the fucking tank. That's so unique to her.
I think we just became best friends, Bob, because I feel the same exact way.
No.
I don't. I cut off Shotzi until she gets in the ring. I watch her match, let her wrestle, then I cut it off till she leaves again, because I'm not into any of her extra shit anyway. I think she's dope in the ring, and like I said, I think I wish they had two. Like, I wish Mercedes had a better partner, because I mean, Aaliyah's not bad, but she's not on the level that Shotzi or she's not on the level of the three of them. So we already know how this match is going to go, and I kind of don't like that. But at the same time, like, I think that we'll get some strong matches out of it, and I really want to see Mercedes versus Rhea for real.
For sure. So quick question before we address that. I just want to make a quick comparison. So, like, Bob keeps saying that the tank is silly indie stuff, but I would compare it to when Kairi Sane was coming out with her fucking steering wheel and shit.
That was lame too.
I thought that was dope because it fit with her character. No. If it fits with the character, I'm all about it. It's completely fine for me. I think it's dope. I think it's fine. It's a non-issue, to be honest.
I wouldn't say it's indie shit. I just think it's trash shit.
Yeah. I mean, personal preference, I guess, man. Everybody has their own taste. So, moving on. Main event time. We have Kushida taking on Cameron Grimes and the mystery opponent. And again, like I was saying at the top of the recording, I really hope this was Jeff Cobb. He liked my tweet, my gif of me like in the crowd at Takeover War Games in Chicago, raising my NXT sign for the podcast. He liked it. He teased it.
10 years
he
old.
gave me blue balls on the fucking show because then Velveteen Dream came out and immediately on my man, fuck this. I don't care about this match anymore. It's going to be Dream. It wasn't Dream that picked up the win. Surprisingly, it was Cameron Grimes that picked up the win here on Kushida.
I didn't think it was going to be Dream because all the shit that's going on and them talking about, is he fired? Are they going to fire him? Whatever.
Right.
I didn't think it was going to be Dream at all. I actually thought it was going to be Kushida. I was surprised when it was Grimes.
Yeah, so but here's the thing, like you were saying, like about the whole uncertainty with Dream. Why even bring him back? Like, I get it. Like, you're either believe the man or you don't believe the man. Regardless, there's controversy, and I don't think you want to bring that guy on your program just yet, unless he either clears his name or we find out one way or another if he's done the things he's done. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to get into that because that's not part of the recap itself. But regardless of the fact, I kind of wouldn't have brought him back. I feel like.
That's why I think they did. I think that it was in their eyes he's cleared because he's got too much. It's too much at this point. Like,
right.
Why would you bring him back and open yourself up to that? So to me, something happened where they're okay with it, or maybe they just want. I was thinking maybe they just wanted him to give one L and get him out of there. But then after the match, that stuff that happened. So it's like. He had to have been cleared or whatever. They have to think he's all right.
Or they just might not care and think that it's like water under the bridge and just sweeping it under the carpet too. Because WWE's been known to just say, fuck it, we're just going to be tone deaf and not listen to shit. Right?
They've known to pick and choose who they want to punish and who not.
Exactly. Look at Riddle. Like, no offense at Riddle. Again, not touching, like, not saying, like, rightfully, like if he's, like, innocent or guilty, whatever. But look at Riddle. Not like a scratch on him, and then other guys like Jack Gallagher were released from the company. So yeah, so there's that. I was surprised it was Dream. Maybe it's the whole stuff that was happening with him, but I'm not feeling Dream anymore. I feel like he's kind of like cooled down since he just disappeared, and even since his like his whole feud with Adam Cole, he never picked up the NXT title, and I think it was more or less kind of like a Bray Wyatt situation. Because at a certain point you're just like, why should I keep rooting for this guy? He's never going to win the big one. And that's kind of where I stand with Dream at this point. So that's why when he showed up, it's like, whatever. But it was a pleasant surprise to see Cameron Grimes actually pick up the win. And I'm all for him being in that match because I think he's earned it. He's been one of the workhorses of NXT. He's been slowly improving steadily and has been a good, solid guy in that division and in that roster.
And hasn't he been on damn near every show for a while?
Almost. If he skips an episode, he usually like does a promo, or he'll do a promo the following week, be like, "Oh yeah, I was busy celebrating my win and shit," you know, and making it make sense, you know. That's
what I'm saying. Like one way or another, he's been on every show. I mean, I'm not gonna say I called this, but I called this. I told y'all he was gonna be a mainstay in one of their, because he's their only like real villain at the time. He'll be there, like, and his in-ring work is fucking. Wait till you see this man on that ladder. That I can't wait. I think he's gonna be the star of this match. I'm not saying he's gonna win it, but I think he's gonna be lights out in this damn match.
Yeah, for sure. How do you feel about Creepy Dream with like the blonde goatee and him just being more unhinged?
Me, I'm into that more than I was Babyface Dream. Like, to me, the character didn't work. Being a babyface, like I like the creepy shit. I like the villain aspect of it. Him getting in your head and making you feel some type of way. Like that's all. That was why I started liking Dream to begin with. Was that shit? So like to me, I'm all for it. I mean, like you said, I'm kind of cooled off on him too, and I don't want to pull my Dream shirts out just yet, just in case. Yeah. But if I'm here for it. But if it's I'm giving it some time first. I'm gonna let some shit kind of cool down first before I jump wholeheartedly back to support.
For sure, definitely, I get you on that. By the way, just going back to the chat, Matt says RN is trash. Go cuddle Adam Cole, RN. Leave the tank alone. Going back to the previous Shotzi stuff. Bob says he loves Grimes and it reminds him of Jimmy Garvin. Sorry, Bob, but that was before my time. D-Ross says Grimes is great, so everybody loves Grimes, man. Matt also says he wants to see Loomis versus Dream. I am all for it. Let Loomis tea bags and body bags all day on his return. So I'm all for that too. And Matt also mentioned that last week on the podcast we thought it might be Ciampa because he hasn't been seen on TV. Dream was definitely a surprise. I was not expecting him. So yeah, going back to the finish of the match, Cameron Grimes does pick up the win here on Kushida. gets the
It was a
cave in.
dope finish too.
It was a nice little sequence because it kind of like that.
Yeah.
Dude, his fucking finisher is dope. It's perfect because it comes out of nowhere.
Like it.
Yeah.
No one does it like Kofi. Nobody that tries to do that shit. Nobody does it, and it's been like this for years. He's been the best one doing it, easily 5 or 6 years or more, bro. Like,
dude, it looks exactly like it does in the video game, where it legit looks like he jumps up and just stomps you in. Like it's
every time.
It's fucking perfect. And not only that, like I forget what it's called, but the move where he just kind of like grabs you and just turns you and spins you, like it like mid. Yeah. I forget what he calls it, but he has a couple moves that he can hit out of nowhere, which is perfect.
Right.
I think he'd be
like
perfect.
He never botches it. Like I've never seen it not look good when he's done it.
Smooth as all fuck, man. I swear. Yeah. Honestly, I would kind of want to see Grimes and Orton paired up together in some kind of sort of faction. I feel like they're perfect match for each other. Like I think Randy Orton like start a faction and recruit Grimes. I think them together in a similar faction together, I think would be money. To be honest with you, man.
If he dropped this crazy ass Louisiana, whatever the hell it is, shit or
the
North
southern, I don't know, man. It has its charm. It's
too silly for Randy Orton, though.
Maybe, true, but who knows? So overall, solid triple threat match. It was the final triple threat match. Post match, Dream was livid, took out his aggression out on Kushida, which I didn't like. I was not all for it because Kushida's my guy. Afterwards, Finn Balor shows up. They have a face-off because, as we heard last week, the people from the 4 Fatal 4-Way matches that weren't pinned are going to be in singles matches to determine the final 2 spots after Loomis was injured and no longer able to compete. Are you disappointed that Loomis isn't able to be added to the match, or do you think, like me and Matt, were kind of like trying to like talk ourselves into the fact that maybe it was kind of like a work thing, like it was a way for them to give him a big win in the triple threat match, but also protect him because he wasn't going to win the title?
Maybe I feel like it's a kind of a combination. Like it was that, but he might actually be injured, so they just took advantage of it, or maybe he's a little dinged up and they just didn't want to risk it. I mean, I don't know. I mean, me personally, I think he's one of those characters that don't need a title. Like of course, I wouldn't mind him winning a belt, but I mean, how creepy and scary and how dope his character is. Like he's like a Fiend, kind of like an NXT version of the Fiend. He doesn't need a belt. Just unleash him on somebody, let him terrorize some people, scare the shit out of him, choke him out, and on to the next one.
I'm with it. So speaking of on to the next one, on to the next week's episode of NXT, we have a face-off here between Pat McAfee and Adam Cole. Obviously, this is going to be like the nice little blow-off thing, similar to like what they tried to do with Mike Tyson and Chris Jericho on Dynamite. So this is here's the fucking thing. How are people going to shit on the fact that Pat McAfee is going to be in a match with Adam Cole, but they did a whole angle with a broken down, beaten down, run down Mike Tyson and Chris Jericho, and they wanted to set up a match, but they got some negative backlash and decided let's not do that. But like, let's be honest,
that was why. I think that they pushed it back, and like I saw some shit that Jericho was saying it still might happen in October.
I hope it doesn't, man. See, I don't want to hear the people that were talking shit about this match. At least this match has history. This goes back years, and they've been building this up, and it gives Cole a prominent spot. And again, I made this comparison on both Twitter and on the podcast. A lot of people were shitting on the Stephen Amell versus Christopher Daniels match at All In, and it was one of the most surprisingly fun matches of the entire card.
Right.
I think they could do a solid thing here. We don't know. Maybe he's been training for the last 3 years, and he's ready to go. But people aren't tripping over Dominic facing Seth Rollins at SummerSlam? Really? I didn't hear a single soul complain about Dominic, even though they're on the same level. Yes, Dominic has some training, but come on.
You didn't hear me because I'm complaining. I think that's just horse shit. But no, I understand.
Make it make sense, people.
Yeah, and my thing is with Pat McAfee, it ain't like he's just like a random celebrity they brought in. He's been doing the pre-shows and shit and all types of stuff for NXT for what, 2 or 3 years now, if not more. Like it's not like it's like you said, it's history of him talking shit about the UE and Adam Cole specifically, like
throwing shots.
He's an athlete, like punter or not, he's still a fucking NFL athlete, which means he has some sort of athletic ability. Who's to say he hasn't been training for this for a while or training to be a wrestler in general?
And you know why I love about this, and I know you'll get this reference, and I know you'll appreciate me making this reference. This is basically LeBron James stepping up to Skip Bayless and saying, "I'm gonna beat your ass for all the shit you talk." That's exactly what this feels like. LeBron James to Skip Bayless, and me being a basketball fan, I'm all for it because I would love for LeBron James and Skip Bayless to go on the game on one-on-one just so he can shut the hell up about LeBron. But that's neither here nor there. Let's keep talking about for next week's card. They announced the 6-man tag match between Breezango and Swerve taking on Legado del Fantasma. Who you got here and why?
I hate that Swerve's with those jackasses, but I think it's gonna be
language, sir. I cosplayed as Breezango at Backlash 2016 or 17. I will not take that slander.
It's slander. I don't know. Like this was kind of hard because I feel like they're so 50-50 on stuff. But I think Dos Santos and them are gonna win. But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Swerve and them got the win.
I'm gonna go ahead and say Swerve picks up the pin here against Escobar, leading more and building up to the story that they've been telling, saying that Swerve's the only man to get a pinfall victory over Santos. And then now next week. And that's usually how WWE does things. So you pin the champion in a tag match. And that's New Japan booking style too. You know, you pin the champion in a tag match, you go ahead and get a title opportunity.
With that too, but that's why I picked Santos though, because then it's like he got his pin on Swerve, so now they have to have the rubber match. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like that's why I picked. Like your way makes sense too, but I was feeling more so the tick for tat type shit that they roll with all the time.
For sure. Either or, I wouldn't be surprised if either team picks up the victory here. This one, toss up for me. Johnny Gargano versus Holland. What's his first name? I forgot his name. Rich Holland. Jesus, why did I draw a blank on this? Rich Holland versus Johnny Gargano. Normally my money would be on Johnny Gargano, but given that Rich Holland just recently debuted, they gave him a whole video package. I doubt he loses to Johnny Gargano. I'm gonna go with Rich Holland him.
I don't see Johnny Gargano losing him because this guy wasn't even like he wasn't even really a thing on NXT UK. Like I mean he was doing squash matches and shit, but he wasn't really like they were propping him up to eventually become one of the top guys. But I mean it wasn't like he was like facing anybody over there. I don't see Gargano losing to him.
No, I get you. I mean. We'll find out next week. Maybe we'll do a bet on that one because we seem to be happy on we seem to be happy like the last couple episodes we were on together. And then finally,
wrestling betting ring. Fuck it.
Yeah. Might as well just start a whole entire like FanDuel, like whatever the fuck it's called, where they do like online betting and stuff. And then we'll just do like Smack Raw bets and shit. We'll just start doing that. Finally, the other match, Finn Balor versus Velveteen Dream. I'm gonna say Balor picks up the win here. I think it has to be. Like, there's still too much up in the air for Dream. I think they just didn't have like enough people or bodies or a big enough name to show up here, so they went ahead and decided, let's just throw Dream back out there. Maybe that's all it is.
What I was saying. That's what I was thinking too. Like, set them up so, and it goes back to their little run-in they had before all this happened. Before the shit with Velveteen happened, so you kind of get that beat too. So, but yeah, it's gonna be Finn. Finn's gonna fucking end up in the thing, like you said. I'm gonna have to get this stupid ass tattoo.
Hey, if Finn wins that title, man, I'm all for it. I'm happy. I'll be satisfied in life. But before we close off the show, let me go back to the chat, and then we'll go ahead and hit up the SmackDown NXT hashtag. So make sure you guys get a shout out. D-Rod and D-Ross says Grimes is great. Bob disagrees that Randy Orton and Cameron Grimes would be too different. He doesn't see those two guys hanging out together. And he also says not at all. He hates Loomis. What, Bob? How do you hate Dexter Loomis? Like, what? Anyway.
You lost, Bob.
Yeah, Matt also says, damn it, Bob. Bob also adds Jericho looking like Greg Valentine. I can see it. Matt says Loomis is straight out of Silence of the Lambs, Red Dragon. I love it. I could release Where's Loomis book. I'd buy it right up. Bob also says I'm in for it. Let Cole kick his ass, referring to the whole McAfee Cole match. Swerve has a good show, but Lucha wins, referring to the match. That's Bob saying that he's gonna go ahead and say Lucha Legado del Fantasma picked up some win in the 6-man. And he also says that Gargano picks up the cheap win. So, okay, fair enough points here. And then we're going to migrate over to the Smacked NXT hashtag. Make sure you get those comments going. Sure enough, the first tweet I see is Matt. Matt says, fuck Swerve making the save or Legado del Fantasma getting the win. Did you see Fandango kill Moppy? He didn't even hesitate. I didn't see that. Did you see him attack a Mop?
No, I didn't, but I get what he's saying, but I didn't see it.
Yeah. Matt, again, if Priest used the cross power bomb, he wouldn't have been that wouldn't have been possible. It's Thick Boy season. So he's referring to the pin at the end. Had he went for the cross power bomb, he's dying on that hill, man. He wants him to go ahead and use that cross power bomb. Again, Matt. Well, Grimes overcame Velveteen Dream, but Kushida could not. Can Finn beat Velveteen next week? Also, with the blonde chin hair, I cannot think of Velveteen as the new Hollywood Hogan leading his own NWO. I don't think he's going to be getting that anytime soon, Matt, but I wasn't feeling the blonde chin strap hair. Honestly, I wasn't feeling it. Let's see, what else do we have? D-Rod says, please explain why the standing streamer, people like the standing streamer that say AEW is greater than NXT are uneducated morons. Harsh words, D-Rod. I wouldn't say they're uneducated. They have their own personal preferences. They have their own opinion regardless of it being wrong. You can be wrong from time to time. And apparently standing streamer is wrong. AEW is not greater than NXT. NXT is the better Wednesday show, clearly. And let's see. I think even standing streamer even had a question for the show, if I'm not mistaken. He says, does it feel like Cole was the heel tonight? I would assume he would have one final face run before going up to the main roster. So I don't personally think he was heel or face. I feel like we're in a middle ground here where they're just both heels. They just happen to be two guys that hate each other, man. What do you think?
No, Adam Cole's a heel. He's always a heel. It doesn't matter who the opponent is. I don't know where this shift in the dichotomy of the Undisputed Era happened, where all these people are jumping on this Adam Cole's a face shit. Regardless of what the issue is with him and McAfee, Adam Cole is a heel. Undisputed Era are heels. They beat the shit out of two jobbers in the middle of a match to come out and talk shit about someone. That's heel 1-on-1.
Exactly, for sure, man. Last final thing I want to go ahead and say, I want to plug our Patreon. Go ahead and look us up on patreon.com/SmackRaw Podcast. And if you go to the $5 tier, you can get one of these fine stickers. You can get the sticker pack, guys. Maybe spread some demon arts. I don't know. Maybe you want to go in basic with the Pogs size logos, go ahead and support your boys. It helps towards the show, equipment, stuff, to make sure we bring you guys a higher quality product. We have a $1 tier, which gives you early access to the videos that we drop exclusively. We have a $10 tier, which of course gives yourself an opportunity to be featured on the show with a video question or unpopular opinion. So we encourage you guys to support the show. Another way, again, free way to support the show. Subscribe on YouTube, comment, subscribe, turn the bell notifications, download the episode wherever you consume all your audio podcasts. We're basically everywhere. Give us a 5-star rating, review. Any final thing you want to plug? Mean Jelly Beans Production on Facebook and YouTube. Mean Jelly Bean. Go ahead and check that out. Funny stuff. Aaron, anything?
That's it. Yeah, Mean Jelly Bean Memes on Facebook. Mean Jelly Bean Productions on YouTube. Comment, share. Stop being scared. Stop using the excuse of your job or your church or your family. We are grown ass men and women. You can share whatever the fuck you want to share. Stop being bitches. Share.
There it is. And on that note, we'll see you guys next week for more NXT. Go ahead and use Smacked NXT and maybe spread some demon art. I don't know. Catch you guys next week. Later, y'all.
Hello.